しい瞬間を捉えていたらどうだっただろう。あれだけのセンスの持ち主なら別のアプローチだってできたはずだ。ちょうど今マックスが自撮りを撮ったぞ。
ちょうど今、マックスが自撮りを撮ったぞ。So 今 means now, we've seen it. And ちょうど is like exactly, precisely, right. So ちょうど今, right now. And then you should be able to translate this line. You just have to recognize the verb. So 撮った. So it ends with ta, so it's past. And it comes from 撮る. So the take a picture, 撮る. If you didn't recognize it, well, of course, you might learn the past tense so that you can easily recognize the verbs. So here is the past tense. And by the way, it's pretty cool because the past tense is actually the same conjugation as the te form. And since the te form is used a lot too, then in little time you will learn both conjugations that maybe are the most useful in Japanese. So I really recommend that you learn it. And as you can see, it's not so complicated. Basically, just remember that verbs ending with tsu, ru makes ta or te. Munubu becomes nda or nde. Ku, gu becomes ita, ida or ite, ide. And su becomes shite or shita. So that's for godan verb. And for ichidan verbs, well, it's always the same rule. You delete ru and you add ta. And that's it. For ichidan verbs, you always have to just delete ru and add whatever you want at the end. So for example, if you want to make the negation, you delete ru and you add nai. So taberu, tabe, tabenai. Or taberu, tabe, tabeta. And so ちょうど今, like right now, Max が, so the subject, Max, 自撮りを撮ったぞ, has just taken a selfie.
現代ならではのセルフポートレートだが、マックス、君は筋がいい。
So he says that it's nowadays self-portrait. He doesn't really like the selfie name. For him, selfie is just a self-portrait. And then he says, Max, 君は筋がいい. 君は筋がいい. So 筋がいい is an expression that means to have some talent. It's got many different uses, but basically it's a huge compliment. And here, so of course, you have talent, you have a gift, Max.
肖像写真は1800年代初期から広く普及し、現在に至る。君たちの世代よりはるか昔から自撮りの文化は存在したんだ。呼び方は変わったけどね。写真やアートの世界において人物の姿を捉えることは常に極めて重要な要素であり続けてきた。マックス、ついでだから君に聞こう。
ついでだから君に聞こう。I like the way he phrases that. ついでだから君に聞こう。So ついで is opportunity, chance. So we have a good chance here. We're taking the opportunity of you taking a selfie. And so 君に聞こう. So 君 is you, but you should never use it because it will be insulting if you use it. Basically, you only use it for someone who is inferior compared to you. And so 聞こう, once again, so let's. 君に聞こう, let's ask you, the target you. So it's not what we're going to ask, which would be o. It's to whom you're asking. So 君に聞こう, let's ask you.
世界で最初のセルフポートレートの誕生に大きく貢献した製版法は?
And so he asked her about some kind of techniques that contributed a lot to self-portrait. And well, the two answers she can give, so 私ですか? So it's like just me. So here, of course, das, you won't translate it as to be. It won't be am I or is it me? Of course not. Here, the des is just here to be polite. She won't say just 私 to a professor. That would be rude. So she adds des just to show that she is polite. But des has no meaning, actually. It has no purpose in the sentence. You're just being polite and that's it. So, first, me. So, well, we understand that she doesn't know about it, or she's very, very shy. And then the other option is 忘れちゃって. 忘れちゃって. So this is interesting and a bit complicated. So 忘れちゃって, you see that it ends with te. So it is a te form. Basically, a te form should never be used alone unless it's an order, but whatever, we'll see it another time. So basically, the te form is used to connect sentences, verbs, adjectives together. So basically, you should not use it alone. But Japanese people quite often use it alone. Actually, they're just omitting what comes next. And they do this, like using the te form alone, when they want to give some kind of excuse, when they want to explain like a subtle reason that is implied then. So here, wasureru means to forget. And so we understand that she's using this wasureru as kind of an excuse, an explanation for not being able to answer. So like the whole sentence would be, I forget, and this is why I don't know the answer. You see? So when you want to give some kind of subtle reason, not like a huge reason, a huge cause that would be kara or node, you can just use te. And so maybe you were asking, but why would we use a te form to indicate a subtle cause? Because actually, this is one of the te form uses. So let's say that the very basic use of the te form is just to connect adjectives, verbs, sentences with end. Okay, so basic te form is end. But another te form would be and so. So you see little cause consequence relationship. So sometimes the te form is just end, like in I go shopping and I go home and I go to bed. But it can also imply some kind of cause consequence relationship. So, of course, it depends on the context. You have to decide based on the context if you should just translate it by and or by and so. And so here, I'm telling you, it's an and so. And why do you have this cha? So cha is the contraction for teshimau. So the colloquial form of teshimau. Teshimau is to regret something. You've done an action and you kind of regret something. It's like, oops. And so here she wants to show that, like, oh no, I forgot, you see, I kind of regret it. Oopsie, you see.
知ってます。でも忘れちゃって。
知ってます。でも忘れちゃって。So 知ってます。知ってます。I know. It comes from 知る and remember that we never say 知ります. Doesn't exist. It's always 知ってます. So it's the ている form. Once again, ている、ています. In polite form, ています. But we've seen it. We always omit the I when speaking. When speaking, it will never be ている but てる. Not ています but てます. Not ていた but てた, etc., etc. So, if you want to say I know, you have to say 知ってます。でも忘れちゃって。But I forgot, you see. But I forgot. And so, of course, once again, this like te form, you can't translate it in English. We don't have something like this that kind of implies a subtle cause-consequence thing that is omitted. It's impossible. So just, but I forgot.
要は答えられないということか。誰か他に答えられる人は？
要は答えられないということか。So, just 答えられない. You should be able to understand. So, 答える to answer. And then you see that it's become 答えられない. So られる potential. So can answer 答えられる can answer. But then negation 答えられない. So can't answer. So so you can answer. That's it. 誰か他に答えられる人は? So this is the basic way of asking if someone else can answer. But the way he phrases this might be a little bit weird for Occidental people because we would not phrase that this way. So maybe learn it by heart to get used to these Japanese ways of phrasing things. So first, 誰か他に is like else, and 誰か should be someone. And so 誰か他に someone else, and 答えられる人は, so it's a relative. You see that you have a verb in front of a noun, 答えられる人. So a person that can answer, wa, and then what comes after is omitted, which happens a lot in Japanese. Like in many situations, we don't actually say the whole sentence here. It's obvious. It would be wa imasu ka? Imasu ka? Is there people who can answer? 答えられる人はimasu ka? So 答えられる人は people who can answer. Imasu ka? Is there or are there people who can answer? And 誰か他に is just to add this someone else, a nuance meaning. So you can say 誰か他に or 何か他に, something else. 何か他に, 誰か他に, someone else or something else. So it's hard to explain why it's phrased this way, and this is why just remember it and get used to it.
フランスの画家ルイ・ダゲール発明のダゲレオタイプ。鏡のように被写体をくっきり映し出す手法です。あなたのぼんやりした顔とは正反対ね。
And so here she, gives the answer of a French artist, Louis Daguerre, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, あなたのぼんやりした顔とは正反対ね。So, first, since she uses anata, we right away understand that this person is not nice. So, as I told you in the first video, you should never use anata unless you're in a very specific situation. So here, so her name is Victoria, and you will see, I bet that you already understand what kind of character she's going to be. But she will speak like someone first who's really feminine and really rich and kind of snobbish, arrogant, etc., etc. Well, it's kind of the cliche of the girl who comes from a wealthy family and who kind of despises everyone, you see? And then this Anata is very cold, almost like she was feeling superior. You see, Anata is basically meant to be neutral, but since it's neutral, it's most of the time very cold. And so here she's absolutely not being polite to Max. It's the opposite. Her tone is very condescending. And so ぼんやり means to be absent-minded with idly. And so as you can see, indeed, the main character is kind of has her head in the clouds. And 顔 is face. So ぼんやりした顔. So the した is complicated to explain, and it's just, once again, some typical Japanese phrasing. So whatever, just ぼんやり plus 顔, you understand that it works together. So ぼんやりした顔, your absent-minded face, you see, literally. とは正反対ね. So 正反対 means exactly opposite of. And so when you want to say different from, opposite of, etc., etc., usually you use the と particle. 顔とは正反対ね. So it's not the と that means and, okay? It's the casual と, basically the one that you translate by with. 友達と with my friends. But it's also used when you want to say different from, or opposite of, etc., etc. You use it. So, ぼんやりした顔とは正反対. So, the exact opposite of your dazed face. You see? So basically, she's insulting her. You will see that in Japanese, it's like much more difficult to insult someone. Or let's rather say that they don't insult the way we do. When we insult someone, we're being very frank, very direct, you see? But in Japan, you're not going to say like assholes or etc. etc. You're never going to say things like that. Well, you do have some insults, but like compared to our languages, there are so few of insults, and usually like they are so polite compared to us. So of course you have ways to be very, very aggressive and insulting, but if we compared the ways of being insulting, like between Japanese and our languages, like well, you will see in the game, and when it's funny. The game is much more polite than its English version. And by the way, you notice that once again she's not using da or even this. She's not going to say 正反対だね. Why, she's being pretty assertive here, but since she's very feminine, she's not going to use da. When you are feminine, basically, you almost never use da.
正解だ。ダゲレオタイプは人物の顔を細部まで描写することで1800年代以降広く普及した。この技法で初のセルフポートレートを撮ったのがコーネリアスだ。彼に関する詳しいことは教科書に書いてある。もちろんネットにもね。みんな日常ヒーローコンテストの期限が迫ってるぞ。
みんな日常ヒーローコンテストの期限が迫ってるぞ。So here, you should be able to translate it with the vocabulary. So by the way, I never say it, but don't hesitate to press pause when I read the sentence out loud and try to translate it by yourself before listening to my explanation. So try to translate it, press pause, and then I explain. So みんなは everyone 日常 hero. So the hero of everyday hero contest. So contest. So the everyday hero contest. No 期限. So deadline. The deadline of this contest. が so it is the subject. 迫ってるぞ. And so 迫る means to approach, to draw near, to be imminent. So the deadline is getting closer. Once again, it's a teru form. You see that it's not semaru, but sematteru, and it should be sematteru. But once again, the e is omitted, so sematteru.
優勝者は学校の代表としてサンフランシスコに連れて行く。
優勝者は学校の代表としてサンフランシスコに連れて行く。So 優勝者 is, well, the winner. So 代表 is representative. So として we've seen it. It's as, in the role of. This as, you see, in the role of. Like, for example, 教師として働いています。I work as a teacher, in the role of a teacher. So 学校の代表として as the representative of the school. Then サンフランシスコに連れて行く. So, okay, the destination. And 連れて行く is, well, to take someone with one. So he will take with him the winner as the representative of the school to San Francisco. And so here, be careful because you don't have 優勝者を連れて行く. You have 優勝者は連れて行く. So why? It is indeed O. The O is hidden behind the wa. But indeed, in another sentence, it could have been サンフランシスコに優勝者を連れて行く. It's just that here he wants to add some contrast effect. And as for the winner, I will take him with me to San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. So he makes this contrast effect and wa is used to make a contrast effect. So the o is going to be kind of deleted by the wa. You can't say o wa. It's impossible. It doesn't exist. Either you use o, either you use wa, but you can't use both. So Yushosha is still the object, but since you want to add this contrast effect, then you just put wa. And since you have a contrast effect, of course, you place it at the beginning of the sentence. If you just had o and then no contrast effect, then it would be in front of the verb.
プロの世界に自分を売り込むチャンスだ。
プロの世界に自分を売り込むチャンスだ。So once again, you have a relative. The first thing you have to do to learn relative is to get used to right away spot them. A verb in front of a noun, 売り込む、チャンス, oh, okay, relative. And so you translate the head noun first, so a chance, and then you translate what comes before. So プロの世界に自分を売り込む. So a chance to, well, sell yourself, 自分, self. So 自分を売り込む to sell yourself. プロの世界に to the pro world. To sell yourself as in to become well known, you see, to like promote yourself. So basically it's チャンスだ. It's the chance, it's a chance to sell yourself in the pro world.
ステラもアリッサも早く出すように。テイラ、君もまだだ。期待してるぞ。マックスも言い訳は通用しないから。